It's 1 o'clock. Welcome to the coffee lecture from the Chemistry, Biology, Pharmacy Information Center. The topic today is Manchester Academic Phrasebank, and I'm super happy to see you all here, despite the fact that there are large language models out there that can write for you. So we think this resource that we will present today is a very interesting resource. There's been a lot of work put into it, and I'm going to quickly show you what this is. So Manchester Academic Phrasebank's been developed in UK, as you can imagine, and it's a freely online library of English phrases that you can use when you write. So if you don't want to, ask your ChatGPT or Copilot or so on to write something for you, but you want to actually write yourself, but you still need help a little bit with English, what kind of phrases to use, then this is really a very nice resource, and I'm going to do a live demo. So there's lots of phrases that were taken out of dissertations and research papers. And they are not plagiates because they're just like short parts on how to start a discussion, how to start the method section, how to start results part when you're writing a manuscript. The whole resource was created by the director of the university-wide language program, so somebody who's interested in languages. So you will see that's why also the whole design of the Manchester database is very language-oriented. And from here on, I'm going to do a live demo. And here you can see now how the Manchester Academic Phrasebank looks like. I'm going to put this away. So that doesn't disturb. You have up here the language functions that you can use to introduce your work. Imagine that you're writing a master thesis or a PhD thesis. You need to write an introduction first. Then you need to refer to sources. Then you need to describe the methods you've used, report result, discuss the findings, and write some conclusions. Now, if you go to introducing work, sometimes you have this blank page in front of you and know how to start. And if you need an inspiration, you can go here and then scroll down. And then you see phrases that you can use, to start and say, yeah, my topic plays a critical role in the maintenance of something, or there's a growing body of literature that recognizes the importance of this and that, what I'm working on. So it's really phrases that you can use to start an introduction. Or let's say here, X is a major problem in, or however, my problem is limited by this and that, or suffers from this and that. Or if you want to identify a knowledge gap in the field of study where you're working, you can say, well, there's still not so much know whether this and that has happened, or, there's like little sentences that can help you start and continue with introduction. Then when you do that, you need to refer to the sources. It's important, right, to say what's been there before. And then you have here phrases that you can use when you comment on the relevant literature that's there. I'm not going to go into details as I don't get into the 10 minutes. So here you have previous research, what has been established or proposed. Topic prominent, investigations, and so on. Then we come to describing the methods. These sections are also very specific. And here you can then say, if you want to say what has been done before, you have here possible sentences, why you use a certain method, criteria that you use. So it's all little puzzle pieces that help you write. And then when we come to reporting results, we have the same thing. When you need to refer to a table or a chart, you have the standard sentences. When you have a positive result to comment on, also negative ones, or maybe how to make a nice transition when you're writing. Yeah, that's also important, so that the text is flowing. Then we have discussions, how to write discussions. You need to provide some feedback on background information. Maybe you need to point an interesting finding that you see we very often compare when we discuss. And here there are options how you can compare. Comment. Very important in discussion. You need to comment on what you see and giving suggestions for future work. This is also, there are some phrases that will help you then look into the future. Very often this part comes then also together with conclusions. And there are some sentences you can use when writing conclusions. Limitations are usually often in the conclusions. Or recommendations, what could be done in the future. So you have here all kinds of ideas how to structure these parts of your report, thesis, article. And then there's something what is also very, very useful. Here on the left-hand side, you have general language functions. So sometimes you need to, for example, criticize something and you don't know how to put that in a good way. And then you have here examples of how you can critically approach to something what you have noticed, or maybe as a reviewer. So you have here ways how to express that criticism in a nice way, yeah, not in an aggressive way, or how to introduce problems perhaps in your own work or in the work of others. General criticism. This is just one of the examples. Then we have here, very often we need to compare and contrast in research. So you can do that within one sentence. Then we use whereas or while. And particularly if you're not native speakers, we're sometimes not sure how to use this correctly. You can check back. Or indicating differences, but with two sentences, not to have these long sentences, and you have these connectors by contrasting contrast on the other hand. This is one example. Or signaling transition, I mentioned that already before. So very often when we write, when we report research, we talk about one thing and then we want to go on. And here there are options how you can do that in a nice way. So moving from one section to the next. There are some examples here. And even contrasting while doing that, you can use this kind of connectors. So that's basically what I wanted to show you here. This is Academic Phrasebank. As I said, many people nowadays just type a draft in a large language model and then the large language model does that for you. But maybe you don't want to do that because you don't trust to put your ideas into a large language model, or because your supervisor doesn't want that. And then this resource is still very welcome. I have to say that before I discovered this resource many years ago, I had my own phrases. I had my own database of phrases when I was writing papers, and I was using them then for that kind of corresponds to my style. And yeah, and here it's online. One can also buy a PDF. It's very cheap if you want, but I think it's not needed to buy a PDF. It's very nicely done here on that web page. And that's pretty much what I wanted to say today. I have prepared a coffee lecture card. Now we have them online. We don't print them anymore. But you can, if you like, you can just scan the QR code and then it's on Polybox and you can download it, or you drop an email to me. And on this coffee lecture card is just a little bit of information what this is, so you remember what kind of resource that was. You don't need to search on our webpage. And with that, I'm finished within 10 minutes. And I would like to thank you for your attention and mention that we have tomorrow our last coffee lecture of this series already. It went really quickly through. It's a topic that has nothing to do with chemistry tomorrow. It's Canva, a graphic design software, and a new coffee lecture. And Gina Canarose will present what one can do with Canva. And yeah, you're welcome to join for our last coffee lecture, and then we continue in spring. Thank you for your attention again, and I'm open for questions.